the streets. And here on the Trending Now segment, my team and I do our best on a daily basis to bring you all the stories that are trending now and that shape the world that you and I live in. We begin today with this news where a New York Times article is causing a lot of controversy. Now, apparently, a report by the New York Times newspaper and publication has raised serious questions about the intelligence behind recent United States airstrikes in Nigeria. Now, according to the report, American policymakers might have relied in part on information from a man called Emeka Umeagbalasi, an Anambra-based trader and founder of a civil society group called Intersociety, in shaping claims of a targeted genocide against Christians in Nigeria. Now, recall that in October, U.S. President Donald Trump redesignated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, citing those allegations of a Christian genocide. And just a month later, he warned that the U.S. could intervene militarily if Nigeria failed to act. Well, on the 26th of December, we saw that the United States carried out airstrikes on ISIS targets in Sokoto State, saying that the operation was conducted with the knowledge of Nigerian authorities. The New York Times describes Umeagbalasi as an unlikely source of information on the alleged Christian genocide, noting that his figures claiming 125,000 Christian deaths in 2009 are based largely on online searches, media reports, and secondary sources, which he himself admits that he rarely verifies. He also acknowledged that he often assumes a victim's religion based on attack location. The report by the New York Times says that the U.S. lawmakers, including Ted Cruz, Rep. Riley Moore, and Chris Smith, have cited Emeka's work, and it has informed American intelligence. Well, of course, these revelations have triggered renewed debate about how unverified data may sometimes influence international policy and military action. Very interesting. We could go on and on about this, but let's have a look at social media. Rex Nova says, this claim makes no sense. Serious security decisions like drone strikes aren't based on random tips from a roadside shop owner. Intelligence goes through multiple verified channels before any authorization. Dragging in the West without evidence only fuels misinformation. And the Lost Oracle says, this headline is a pure cartoon. If the U.S. is striking terrorists, it's not because one man in Onitsha influenced Trump. The U.S. doesn't fire missiles off blog posts. It fires based on multi-source intel, satellite feeds, signals, and coordination. Now, team, this is a very, very, very heavy allegations, if you will, against America. Mr. Shomi, they are saying that the Sokoto airstrikes were influenced by this screwdriver trader in Onitsha. He has a website, or open source website called Intersociety, where he posts about the alleged Christian genocide happening in Nigeria. He's a self-styled and self-proclaimed criminologist. He has a degree in peace and, I believe, conflict studies from the Open University. And he's reporting figures and alleged facts of Christian deaths in Nigeria. However, he hasn't traveled to any of these locations, you know, he often assumes victims' religion based on their location. And when the New York Times asked Mr. Emeka, how do you get your information and your data? He said, I Google it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. The fact is, Emeka Umeagbalasi had, one way or the other, been in contact or been actively involved in the civil society movement, particularly through the CLO, before founding Intersociety, which in any case is supposed to be a human rights organization. But the fact of the matter is, it's the foreign countries, you know, particularly the Trump administration got attracted to him, given his background, you know, as a criminologist and who studied security issues. So therefore, they probably assumed that all the information being put out through the Intersociety, you know, are correct, like as if they are verified, like the Human Rights Watch or Amnesty report. So then they got led by that, only to come to a conclusion, which is now being discovered by the New York Times, that look, but these are not proven things. They were just generic remarks. It does not matter whether they are traditionally skilled or Muslims. As far as Emeka's style is concerned, he only looks at where they were killed. If they are killed in Zamfara State, he will assume they are Muslim. If their people are killed in Taraba State, he will assume they are Christian. So, and that on its own is very faulty. So probably the Americans got misled.
For me, I'll say that, not trying to knock down America's hustle, but I think that I'm surprised that America will rely on just one information to do that kind of strike. I want to believe that, they will speak to other parties. And my only problem with him is that he doesn't go there, so you cannot just be relying on that kind of information because you do not go there. There's this show they have on a station where they call Go There and See What Happens. As a person that you want to give accurate information, you have to be there. So I'm surprised that they will listen to just one person and do this kind of strike. Well, like Mr. Biodun said, misled them whatsoever, not knocking down America's hustle, but it's quite disappointing, and I don't want to believe that America just listened to just him to do that strike.
Unfortunately, America disappointed you, like Donald Trump, like Emeka Umeagbalasi. It's very interesting, when you see that the almighty intelligence that America actually positioned itself as having, that yes, we have intelligence, we know we can get a criminal, we can go anywhere and do whatever. God has given you that might, but it goes to show how unintelligent your intelligence might actually be, at the end of the day. Because, something is very funny when you rely solely on one part of, a source, and you're not even asking the government, you're not doing further research. And that goes to show that America is also having its own internal problem. Rather, they want to remove the huge log on the eyes of others. If you look at what ICE is doing in America now, Minneapolis, they are now going out fighting ICE, physically. So much so that people are so disappointed, in Donald Trump, what he has been doing. But it's very interesting how America has become, a laughing stock in the Committee of Nations, because we see what they are doing in Greenland. France, UK, and Germany, or some other countries are saying that Trump cannot take over Greenland. So many interesting
Ibrahim,
things.
Did you hear he's now hitting them with tariff because they do not support him?
So America is now becoming a laughing stock.
But I think we really need to look into the story. They've not said anything yet, so even find out what they'll say about this.
I believe that if we had a comprehensive and voracious, database that were really accurately reporting the deaths, this would not have happened. So this is a call to action, and we're seeing that the Nigerian government is doing that with a $9 million lobbying deal to clean up our image and tell a better story. Thank you so much for your input, team. Now, a brutal multiple murder in Kano State has shocked residents and drawn condemnation from everyone who has heard this news. Now, on Saturday in Dorai Chiranchi quarters, Kano metropolis, a 35-year-old woman now identified as Fatima Abubakar and her 6 children were found killed outside their home after unknown assailants reportedly broke into their residence. Now, the attack, which occurred in broad daylight, was reported to police shortly before 12:10 p.m., prompting a swift response, luckily, by the Kano State Police Command, but it was too late. Officers were immediately deployed to the scene where the victims' bodies were recovered and later taken to the Murtala Mohammed Specialist Hospital. And in a coordinated operation led by intelligence-led policing, 3 suspects believed to be involved in these killings have since been arrested. They include 23-year-old Umar Awalu, identified as a nephew of the deceased woman, alongside Isyaku Yakubu and Yakubu Abdulaziz. Police say that Awalu has made statements implicating himself and his accomplices. Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State has described the killings as, of course, barbaric and unacceptable, and he's ordered an immediate manhunt for any additional suspects. He urged security agencies to ensure that those responsible are brought to justice. Of course, this incident has plunged the Dorai Chiranchi community into mourning, and it's renewing calls for stronger security and protection of families in residential areas. Let's have a look at social media. This is devastating. Abdul Jalal says, this is heartbreaking beyond words. Justice must be swift and transparent, and those responsible must face the full weight of the law. May Allah grant the victims Jannatul Firdaus and give the family strength in this unbearable loss. And Yarison Gamaliel says, defending crimes and justifying it will never end it, but give birth to more. There is a breakdown of social order in a society due to our sentiments in handling crime. May the Almighty give the families the fortitude to bear the huge loss. And now, Tiba, I want to give you some context. This woman and her 6 children, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Her and her 6 children murdered in daylight, in cold blood, in their homes. Mr. Shomi.
It's quite tragic, particularly when information from the police are linking the suspect, one of the suspects, Awalu, to the victims. I mean, in terms of the mother being a nephew or is a nephew of the mother. So it's quite very unfortunate that we can find ourselves in this situation, mindless, killing. For what purpose? To kill the mother, kill all the children? Why? So it's totally incomprehensible. But we must praise the Nigerian police force for swiftly, ensuring that the culprits are arrested. And I'm sure there may be more people involved in this. They might be family members or not non-family members. The police needs to get to the bottom of this and process everybody through the criminal justice system.
Exactly, and Governor Abba Yusuf, there's a whole lot you have to do on this one. This is not a talking matter, this is an action matter. And, I'm very pleased to know that some people have been, apprehended and taken for questioning. But it's such a story that makes my heart very heavy because I read it on social media as well. And just to think about the fact that one of the relatives, like of this person, you ask yourself sometimes, what is the motive of killing somebody? You need to find out, is this person sick? Sometimes it's a mental illness. These are things that we really need to check. And if there are other people that are aligning with this gruesome mother, they should definitely face the wrath of the Lord. This is a very, very sad one. Having a family just wiped out like that. What is your motive for killing a woman and her 6 children? Abba Yusuf, there's a whole lot that needs to be done on this particular matter. We need to get to the end of it and find out to see that these people rot in jail for doing that. Yeah,
it sounded quite rhetoric when you said what is the motive, because at the end of the day, by the time you ask them, they'll tell you, the suspect will tell you that, or those who are said to have perpetrated this heinous act would say they did it for one thing or the other. Is it that when people do these things, they feel like they'll perpetuate the earth, till their kingdom come, like they will never die again? Taking life, snuffing life out of, people. It's so sad. Whatever the motive is, they should face the wrath of the law, and they should also be sentenced to death. That's the best thing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your input, team. Moving on to some other news, there's a joint wedding happening for 9 children by the defense minister, and arrangements are in full swing for a large-scale wedding ceremony involving 9 children of Nigeria's Minister of State for Defense, Mr. Bello Matawale. Now, this story gained traction after an invitation card circulated widely on social media, drawing attention to the unusual scale of the event. Now, the card, which does bear the minister's photograph, indicates that the joint wedding ceremony will take place on the 6th of February at the Central Mosque in Abuja, with proceedings scheduled to begin at 1:30 p.m. Now, confirming this development, an APC spokesperson in Zamfara State, Yusuf Idris, disclosed that the weddings involve 5 sons and 4 daughters of the minister. And further details emerged following a general invitation shared by one Dan Jafaru Alingo Turaki, announcing the date and the venue of this massive ceremony. And wedding cards have since revealed the names of the couples, but we're not going to say them on here for privacy reasons. But of course, this ceremony is expected to attract high-profile guests, political figures, and well-wishers from across the country, making it one of the most talked about social events on Nigeria's political calendar this season. Well, as usual, online reactions have been very mixed, ranging from admiration for this spectacle to debates about public perception and, of course, timing. Let's have a look at social media. A. Adebanji says, it's frustrating how they channel so much energy into unnecessary priorities. God only knows how long they spend preparing for this mass wedding, and yet they've neglected the actual work they were appointed to do. Their performance in their core duties is nothing to write home about. Omar Ann says, same day, same venue, same family, while many struggle to afford one wedding. This shows the wide gap in lifestyles across society. Voldemort says, 9 sons plus daughters in this economy where the average man is struggling to have one wedding, our institutions are criminalized. And finally, Mr. Shina says, mass wedding equals cost saving. Thumbs up. I don't know what to make of this, Mr. Shomi. At the same time, he's saving money. On the other hand, people are saying it is a grand spectacle, especially considering the fact that we are currently dealing with a lot of insecurity. I wouldn't say he should be on the front lines, but surely there's more important things to attend to.
Oh, certainly. I mean, mass wedding is not unusual in certain parts of the country. We know we have had reports of mass wedding either being conducted, by government, for the people, or being conducted by one person or the other. But one unique thing is this is quite unusual. It's taking place in Abuja, and then you have a serving Minister of State, you know, responsible for defense involved. And he's a very prominent person, a former governor, so we're likely going to see so many high-profile people attending these events. It will always continue to generate controversy or debates one way or the other due to the fact that it's a mass wedding. It's not something that we're accustomed to, you know. So therefore, people will keep talking about it.
For me, it's just like a father saying, oh yeah, my children, come and marry. All of you should come and marry.
It's time.
Well, you know, I think why we're having this conversation is because, you know, the defense minister, he holds a very, very crucial role in Nigeria. I think, well, it will save cost if he's marrying all of them together, you know, the same day. Because right now, we know our weddings are expensive, you know, the wedding planners and all of that. So seeing everything happen in one day, well, a lot of costs will be saved. But for me, I just hope that it's not a forced marriage. I hope that, you know, they actually want to marry the person that they have been put to marry. And maybe, Olamide, I think we should visit that wedding. Maybe we should visit.
Yeah, I think it's genius, actually.
Yeah.
One thing is that I want to believe that they are Muslims, and there are certain conditions that you have to, you know, meet before you marry out your daughter or before anyone gets married. The partners must consent. You know, then you have the guardian of the of both. You know, the bride will also be present as witness, which they must have done. So whatever they want to do afterwards, that this invitation is actually bringing out, is just the ceremony, is this nikah aspect. No, sorry, the nikah had been done. It is just the walima that they want to do, which is the celebration. So anyone wants to go and marry, it's fine. And I feel it's very genius in the sense that it is cost effective. Imagine a minister of defense, you know, doing wedding today, the next month is doing another wedding. So I believe the children are happy with it, and it's fine, it's okay.
We should get our invites, that's all I'm saying.
So
we should get our invites.
So therefore, congratulations to the children.
Preemptive congratulations are in order to the 9 happy
right.
couples. Thank you so much for your input, team. Now, former presidential candidate Peter Obi has stated that he doesn't own a house or land in Abuja, describing this decision to not own any of these as a personal choice. And speaking during a recent engagement, Peter Obi said he isn't preparing to own property in the nation's capital, explaining that he does not see the need for it. According to him, owning multiple properties often comes with added pressure and responsibilities. He added that the more assets that one acquires, the more headaches they may bring, stressing that contentment and simplicity guide his lifestyle choices. This is what he had to say.
As I am here today, I don't have a house in Abuja. I don't have the land. I'm not even preparing to have. Because I don't need it. The more you have all this, the more headache you put on your head.
I too do not own a house in the nation's capital. Let's have a look at social media. I'll take 3 tweets. Last Game says, I had the opportunity to visit Peter Obi's hometown during the holiday period. I got to know that Peter Obi doesn't have a house he built with his own money in his home. They have houses, including the ones his mother built. So he sees no reason in building more when there's enough already. I was surprised. Peter Obi is not just an ordinary politician. The man is living what he preaches. IJK says he speaks more about his personal virtues than about his achievements or legacy as a 2-term governor of Anambra State. Was the state exceptional during his tenure? What lasting impacts of his tenure are evident today? And finally, Shewa Kinsanya says, what does he take Nigerians for? We are not silly. Campaign if you want to campaign and stop pretending like you don't need money in your life. And our team, as usual, a mixed bag of reactions. On one hand, you have people saying, you know, what a virtuous leader, what a committed man to the life of simplicity that you've chosen. On the other hand, people are saying, we're not talking about your personality traits now. We want to see your achievements, your legacy, and all we have to show your scoreboard is Anambra State, Mr. Shomi.
Well, look, honestly speaking, what Toby has been doing is just, you know, touting himself, you know, selling himself to the people, not as an achiever, but as a man of virtues. Of course, some of them are debatable because we've had stories of having only one wristwatch, and we've seen pictures of several different types of wristwatches. So, and when you look at what Nigerians are really interested in is basically what are your achievements, what's your track record. That's what Nigerians are interested in. There's no doubt he's a very good trader, but will he be a good, president.
Very
That's a
quickly.
different thing completely.
Very quickly,
And of
Rihanna
course,
Brown.
Mr. Peter Obi, he's been making a lot of statements recently. And for me, we care about the things that you would do or the things that you have done. Whether you own a house or you don't own a house, I don't think that's my problem. My problem is, what are the things that you've done? Are you going to give good governance? And I feel like using that you don't have a house as a yardstick doesn't really speak well, because you can be a very humble person but be on the seats and be a bad person. So there are two different things. And I think he really needs to watch the kind of statements that he actually makes.
But is he, as he told us, did he also tell them or tell us that he owned 2 houses in London? One he bought before he got into office, another one he bought in 1996 or thereabouts in the UK. He also has property in Onitsha and all of that. So regardless of whether you have houses or not, you also own Next. That is a building, a property, even though you say it's business, in Abuja as well as in Lagos. So what a point. What are you saying?
Absolutely. Where do we draw the line between personality and politics?
Exactly.
Could it be, Olamide, could it be that Obi did not own properties, but Next owned properties in Abuja? And
Something
Obi
to keep in mind. I have
owned
to come back
Next.
for that session.
And Obi owned Next.
There's a lot that Pandora box also says.
There's a whole lot
So
about
don't
this
let us go
particular
there.
one.
Thank you so much for your input, team. Now, here